It's time for the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters, an inside look at your teams in your city.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters. It's Monday, August 26th, and we're just a couple minutes late getting to you. I'm David Todd of 970 ESPN with my colleagues, Mike Prisuta of the DVE Morning Show and Mark Madden of 105.9 The X. Guys, let's start with the Bucks. 76-54. They've got 32 games remaining in the season. It's August 26th, yet, man, everybody's complaining. Every time they lose a game, Mark, we'll kick it off with you. It's they need another bat, they need another bat. How badly do they need another bat?
They really need another bat. And I am complaining because they had a chance to make the team better at the trade deadline.
And they still do.
Well, they still could, but they don't want to spend the money. They don't want to pay Justin Morneau. They don't want to pay whoever. Don't want to pay anybody. And what happens is when you don't get better, you invariably get worse. And that's happening right now. The Starling Marte injury, now instead of one jabroni at a corner outfield position, we have two jabronis at two corner outfield positions. And the result is almost no offense whatsoever on selected nights. If the Pirates come up short, and they will make the playoffs, but if they do one and done in that wild card playoff game, blame management. Don't blame the players. The players are doing everything they can.
Sure, the players always do everything they can. Mike, are you of the...
Well, Derek Bell didn't.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Here's what is a little bit confusing to me is...
Why they didn't go get Justin Morneau yesterday?
Well, look, I think we all agree on that. I'm with you. But why hasn't anybody gone and gotten Justin Morneau? Because we talked about before we got on, we talked about the American League wildcard chase. There are three teams within two games. They're not making the playoffs, the two of those teams. You got the Cardinals. They've had injuries. The Reds have a huge hole in their lineup. There are guys who need bats. It's not just a Justin Morneau. It's other guys. Why has nobody done anything?
I can't speak for everybody else. I'm not studying their situations, but I think Justin Morneau, being a first baseman, being a left-hander, and what he would do in PNC Park, it's a perfect fit. The question is, do the Pirates want to be satisfied with what they've done to this point? And what they've done to this point has been fantastic. Way more than I ever thought they'd do. 82 wins is way more than I ever thought they'd do, and they're going to do that momentarily here, but you have a chance to maximize your opportunity here and really go for it. Can you say they're better than the Dodgers right now? They're better than the Braves? They have a legitimate shot to make some noise in October? Or are they just going to make
They do, but let me ask you this question. Do you agree with Mark's point that it's about the money? Do you think $3 million is the difference here?
Absolutely, it's about the money.
You do.
This isn't about maximizing the opportunity. This is about maximizing the money that this opportunity brings in. Bob Nutting doesn't care if they make the playoffs now. Doesn't care if they win a playoff game.
Well, you're saying it's done. They're making the playoffs. Because he's going to make a lot more money if they're in a 5-game and a 7-game series than he is if they're one and done.
But paying $3 million to Justin Morneau.
Do you think he knows that?
No, of course he doesn't.
Because he would have made a lot more money these last X number of years if he'd had a legitimate team on the field and they were filling the park like they're filling it now.
They have filled it for 3 years.
He seemed more interested in getting the welfare check from Major League Baseball every year and having fireworks.
And it's a bigger welfare check this coming off season, a bigger TV check anyway.
$25 million more.
And he's not going to waste that playoff profit by bringing in a $3 million guy that offers no guarantees.
Listen, all right, I'm with you on Morneau, and I've been talking about it for 2 weeks.
It's not just Morneau, David. They don't want anybody. Well, they don't want to increase payroll one dime.
And by the way, he's found his swing again.
Yeah, he's been great the last week.
Now is the time.
He's been great the last week. Mark, I'll just throw this back at you. The past 2 years, the Pirates have taken on big salary when their chances of making the playoffs were much lower.
Well, right, and that's why he's not doing it, because it didn't work. It offers no guarantees. He spent the money, got nothing in return. He's not going to spend the money again.
Okay, so you're saying he looked at past performance of the guys they got and said, this doesn't make sense.
I'm saying he just looks at where they're at in the standings, says we're making the playoffs, I'm going to pocket that dough, period. No thought process that goes beyond that.
Because we do know the marginal win now for 30 games of one player might be one game, but that one game can win the National League Central, and it makes a difference.
And that one game could decide the wild card playoff.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger deal for what you might have in the postseason. Clearly, this is an offensively challenged team. I don't think it stacks up with the contenders, yet there they are. They're tied for first place. Still some baseball to play. We'll see where they ultimately end up. I don't know that Arizona has enough in it to make a serious run.
No, they're done.
If the Pirates fall out of first place. But if you go into a series with the team the Pirates have right now, you should expect to lose in the postseason. Agree or disagree?
I think there are other teams that are better. But again, we're going to be talking. If we're talking one game, I'll take Francisco Liriano over any pitcher the Pirates are going to play.
Not if they get 3 hits, I won't. If they get 3 hits, they could have Sandy
Sure,
Koufax
but
with Goose Gossage in relief, and it wouldn't matter.
But we've seen them win tons of games this year where they've scored 1 or 2 runs because the pitching's been so
But
good.
you'll be playing the creme de la creme in the playoffs. Teams with good pitching, team with better hitting.
Well, they've played both. They got winning records against the Reds and the Cardinals this year. And the Cardinals, by the way, start 13 games in 14 days today against the Reds and Pirates. That's going to tell us a lot. Also, those 32 games, the Pirates play 6 with the Reds, 6 with the Cardinals. They're going to get to decide their fate to some degree.
I'm not predicting good things for those games, David.
Fair enough. You guys are generally down on where they are right now. What's it take internally for them? I mean, is the Marte injury a huge blow to them, and that's going to make the difference?
Potentially it is, because you don't know how he's going to come back. He hasn't been through this kind of thing before. He's playing more baseball at the big league level than he's ever played before. Now he's got to come off an injury. You look at the pitching is starting to wobble. Jeff Locke is not the Locke that he was in the first half. Liriano's had a couple of bad outings. A.J. Burnett still is pitching just well enough to lose more often than he's winning games.
Who's your third starter in a 5-game series?
Right now it'd be
Chasmo?
Charlie Morton, and I don't feel wonderful about
agree?
that.
He's been great.
Charlie Morton by default. Charlie Morton.
Well,
Well, no, he's pitched very well, but again, this isn't about the pitching. Their pitching's fine. Even the guys fading like Locke and Cole's getting a little tired too. That doesn't disturb me nearly as much as the lack of hitting. And Starling Marte, in my opinion, they have 3 legitimate major league hitters, guys who should be batting in the 6th spot or above for a good team, a team that's where they're at in the standings. And now they have 2.
McCutchen,
Alvarez, and Marte. And Alvarez just because he hits home runs.
I think that's fair. Look, we all
And
agree
Marte, the running game is a big deal with what he gives you there. They're able to manufacture
Maybe they could
runs
get Felix
sometimes.
Jones.
I'm going to tell you there is a huge advantage the Pirates have that we haven't talked about, and I don't know if Neil Huntington. I think this is crazy. Neil Huntington has said in the past, he looked back and said maybe he disrupted the chemistry. That's why they're careful about making moves. I think that's a terrible answer. But let me say this. The Pirates have a big advantage September 1st because they have 10 legitimate fringe guys who they can come up and let Clint Hurdle play, double switch, mix and match, because they have so many pitchers they can use too that other teams don't have. So you don't have to ever see Garrett Jones bat against left-handed pitcher or Gabby Sanchez bat against a right-handed pitcher from September 1 on.
Pedro Alvarez will. Neil Walker will.
Walker shouldn't. Alvarez, you kind of.
But they will.
You live
and
with
the problem
he
is,
just told me he was a major league hitter. So.
Well, he's a major league hitter against right-handed pitchers.
Okay.
But the thing, after the 6th inning in playoff games, Neil Walker and Pedro Alvarez will never see a right-handed pitcher. Every crucial at-bat late innings in a playoff game, they will face a left-handed pitcher, which means 2 of their bigger bats are totally negated once the postseason starts.
I think that's legitimate. Neil Walker's been an issue that way all year long. Let's talk some Steelers. Mike, before we get to the game, let's get to the cuts. The 3 guys, or 3 or 4 guys that you were surprised they went first cut or not surprised?
Not surprised.
Barron, Batch, Stevenson, Sylvester.
Not surprised. Chuck Noll said this a long time ago. The problem's not going to be cutting; it's going to be stopping. And I was trying to put a 53 together after they made this latest round of cuts, and I came up with about 44, 45. Between their injuries and just the total lack of depth at a number of positions, it's going to be very creative how they fill this thing out in September.
Did Chuck Noll really say that?
Yes, he did.
That is awesome.
It's a great line.
I'm going to steal that and claim it for my own.
Mark.
Won't be the first time.
Mark.
Not even the last either.
Mark Madden, Mike Prisuta with the comedy
We're
show
going to be
today.
here all week.
Mark, the 0-3, I don't really care. I think the takeaway from the game was the starters, and particularly the offense, were better. They're throwing the ball down the field. I know that's been a big thing for you last year. The last 2 preseason games, they've thrown it down the field.
They have one tangible strength on the entire team, and it's Ben Roethlisberger. One tangible strength. Everything else to me has looked mediocre at best.
You don't
in
think
most
the
cases,
defenses look good?
A lot worse.
I think Troy's looked like the Troy of old. I think Lawrence Timmons might be as good as any defensive player in the league. Mike, you buying either of those?
I just want to address the down the field thing. They threw the ball down the field one time against Kansas City. 49 yards, Ben Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown.
And he got crushed.
On that play, Roethlisberger got crushed by Tom Bahali because the Steelers expected Mike Adams to block Tom Bahali.
Mike Adams and Marcus Gilbert stink.
It's not that they don't want to do it.
That's going to be a problem. Their tackles stink.
They want the quarterback to be able to get up and execute the next snap, and Right now, that's a little bit of a reach if you're going to hold the ball and throw down the field.
I agree with that, but then Dinkin and Duncan's going to die a slow death for this team.
Mike, the tone of the webcast today has been generally negative. Give us a positive to take out of Saturday night's game.
Defensively, I thought they played outstanding football, stopping Jamal Charles 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in the short yardage situation. 1st and goal at the 7, forcing a field goal. KC had 48 rushing yards in the first half, 38 on the Alex Smith scramble. You mentioned Timmons. You saw him going sideline to sideline. You mentioned Troy Polamalu looking like Troy. Jarvis Jones is in a good rotation with Lamar Woodley and Jason World, so they're finding ways to get more people involved there. Defensively, they look like they can play. But offensively, it still goes back to ever since Todd Haley got here, they've been trying to get the running game going so they can get the play-action game going to give Roethlisberger the time to get going. And they appear nowhere closer with the offensive line, the running back, all the injuries, how muddled that is. It looks like another year right now. Now, this can change. But right now, it looks like another year of defense. And, hey, Ben, run around and make something happen, brother, because that's the only option.
Mark, who should be the starting running back? Who will be the starting running back on opening day?
You know what? You could put all their running backs in a big burlap sack, beat it with an axe handle. Whoever got a fractured skull would deserve it. Their running backs stink.
Well, that's not negative.
Oh, right. This is the positive segment. The only thing I see, like I said, Ben's their only legitimate strength. And you have Calvin Beecham at tight end. That's desperate.
You must like the receiving core, though. I got to tell you.
They don't have a true number one, but I do like the mix of the top three. Yes, I do like a lot what I see of Wheaton. So you're trying to milk that positivity out of me, Dave, and I like that.
And one good thing here for
I like the receiving core.
I mean, you look so damn good today.
But boy, a lot of penalties, 9 penalties, and that's their highest. They've had 9, 8, and 7 penalties in the 3 exhibition games. 2 cheap shots by Troy and Cortez Allen. I'm sorry, I keep getting back to the negative.
Cortez Allen got blocked into the guy. I thought he got
and the Dwyer foul is just ridiculous. Yeah. Who should be the starting running back? Who will be the starting running back?
It's going to be Le'Veon Bell whenever he gets healthy. Isaac Redmond is going to start in his place, and I'm telling you, don't sleep on Felix Jones. That guy is here for a reason. It's not just to carry the ball while everybody else convalesces. They're not happy with what they had last year. That's why they signed LaRod Stevens-Howling in free agency. That's why they drafted Le'Veon Bell on the 2nd round, and that's why they went out and traded. When did they ever trade for a guy, for crying out loud? They traded for Felix Jones.
They didn't trade for him to cut him. You're right. He's going to figure in their plans.
This is where these geniuses are wrong. Felix Jones is getting cut on Monday.
He's getting a legitimate shot.
I have something positive to say if I can jump in here.
Get in here.
Okay, if Felix Jones makes the team, I guarantee that Bill Hillgrove, Tun Shilkin, and Craig Wolfley will call him on every single reference, Felix the Cat Jones, which will, give us more of the folksy, hey, we're in your living room having a cup of coffee with you radio that we've come accustomed to love from the Steelers Radio Network. And I mean that very seriously. I love it. I really do.
I kind of like King Felix. Go with the baseball reference.
They don't know who Felix Hernandez is. It's going to be Felix the
podcast.
Cat.
He's Mike Prisuta, the DVE Morning Show on the Steelers Radio Network. Mark Madden of 105.9 The X. And David Todd of 970 ESPN.
Why is Mono not here again?
Woo!